Everyone. If you are new here, my name is Shatoka, and if you're a returning subscriber, thanks for coming back. So today I wanted to do a pattern review for this beautiful Vogue coat. I ended up completing it last month in March, and I did mention in my March monthly makes that I wanted to do a dedicated pattern review for the coat. It deserved one on its own, so if that's some content you would like to see, go ahead and stick around. Okay, you guys, so this coat is a Vogue coat I actually had been planning to make for a few years coming now. I actually had this coat on my Make 9 of 2023. This pattern is Vogue 1926, and it came out in 2022. And I've had this pattern since it came out. However, I'm just getting around to it in 2025, but I'm so glad that I finally did it. Like I said, I had it on my Make 9 in 2023, and then the time went where I felt like it wasn't in season anymore, and I was like, okay, I'll tackle it next year. 2024 rolled around and I didn't do it again. To be honest, I was quite intimidated by the coat because I just knew it was going to be a labor of love, and it actually was that. I'm so glad that I actually ended up finishing it. And even though we're currently now in springtime, I was like, you know what, I'm still going to do a pattern review on this coat because some people might put it on their list for the future, and then I'm going to have this coat for years to come. And I'm like, you know what, let me go ahead and just do the review and I'll share it. So I did put it on and take pictures and video for you guys, but we're already out of the season to wear it because it is like a real heavy coat. It's a fully lined coat. I love it. So I am looking forward to wearing it next fall and winter. But yeah, I'm going to jump into the details of the coat. So it's described as a missus coat in 2 lengths. So I did view B, which is the long coat, and that is what drew me to the pattern in the first place. It's a true maxi coat. It is long, you guys. If you are a short girl, you're gonna have to do view A, which is the shorter version, because on me, I did view B, and it is almost to the ground, and I did no extensions. It does have an extension on the pattern pieces for view B. Sorry if you guys can hear Stormy. That's my cat. She's outside the door. If I didn't have her outside the door, you guys, she'd be crawling on me during this video. So you're going to be hearing her meowing outside my door. But yeah, so there are extension pieces for the coat for the long one, but that's what drew me to this coat. When I saw this pattern originally when it came out, I loved the tweed, and I love the fact that it was long. I love how she styled it with a short dress and high boots. That's how I styled it today in the video and the pictures for you guys. But I love it. It's such a nice coat. It's a fully lined coat. It is rated average, and I would say it is average. But you guys, it's a labor of love. It's literally like 59, 60 steps in this pattern. And like I said, it's fully lined, meaning everything is lined, even the sleeves. So I actually took my time and did it over a few weeks, like 2 to 3 weeks, a little bit at a time. I ended up getting my fabric at a local fabric store here in Chicago, textile discount outlet, and I was looking for tweed. However, I didn't find a tweed in the color that I like, and I wanted it to be more of kind of like a neutral so that I could wear with multiple things. So I actually ended up finding an upholstery fabric. You guys, it's so thick. Like I said, it is a heavy coat. When I was like modeling it around and taking pictures, I had to take breaks because I was hot. Like I was about to crack open some windows in my sewing room just to get kind of like a breeze coming in, because it was actually warmer today here in Chicago, around like 70. So I was getting warm in the coat. So like I said, I'm looking forward to wearing it in the fall and winter, but it's an upholstery fabric, you guys, and it is so thick. It kind of did a number on my quantum stylist. I actually ended up getting a new machine right afterwards and like during, because it was giving me the flux. Like it wasn't so much as like the needles or anything. It was just, it's so thick. I wasn't breaking any needles. It was so thick to get the fabric through the machine, and then like it was heavy to where when I was sewing, it was literally like an arm workout, like pulling all of the fabric of the coat because it's so long on the sewing machine, because I have like a desk, so it's not a large table. So I was having to move things over away from my sewing table so that I can like lay the coat out. It was a lot, but again, like I said, it was a labor of love. I absolutely love it. So there are 15 pattern pieces to this pattern. I actually only used 14 because I didn't end up putting the 2 pockets that go like on the chest. I just felt like I didn't need it, so I left those off, but I used all the other pieces. What I love about this coat, I do love like the seaming of the coat. However, that's why you have so many steps. There's so much like seaming. You can't see it as much in my coat because of like the print of that fabric. It's a little bit busy, but if it was like a solid, like a wool, you'll be able to see all the lines in the coat. So I would say if I made it again, I would definitely like do a less busy fabric so you can see that, because I almost felt like, man, I did all this work with all these extra seams and you can't really tell like just offhand. I mean, if you come close to me and inspect it, you'll see, and you can really tell by how it's shaped that it is that way. But like just from anybody just looking, they won't be able to see it. And I'm like, man, this was like a lot of extra steps and they can't see it. So the lining is actually done exactly like the coat, so that's a lot of seaming that you have there. I ended up getting the lining also at the same fabric store, and I got like a goldish, it's like a nice silky fabric. Actually, it's right here in my coat. I'm gonna grab it. So I love how nice and like buttery it is in the inside. And you guys, I ended up putting like my tag in the coat. She's heavy. She's heavy. So I got that lining as well. There were a couple new things that I did on the coat. Like I've never done a 2-part sleeve, and it was fine putting the sleeve together. However, I kind of ran into a hiccup when adding the lining. And so you guys, I was like working on it for like an hour trying to figure out the way the instructions intended it to be, and it just wasn't coming together. So I ended up just attaching the lining to like the sleeves in the same way that you would just like a regular sleeve, like inserted it in the shoulder seam, and then I just like put it in my coat and like hand stitch it to the bottom of my sleeve. So it's not the way the instructions call for. However, it looks fine. It looks really good. You will need 21 buttons for this coat. 21 buttons. There is 17, is it 17? No, actually it's 15 down the front, and then you have 2 on each wrist. And if you had the 2 pockets on the front, you would have 2 buttons there, but I didn't, so I only used 17. I ended up getting my buttons at Vogue Fabric. It's a fabric store in Evanston on the north side, north suburb of Chicago. And they are a little bit busy. At first I was kind of like, oh, did I get buttons that were too busy? But I actually really like them, and it makes it stand out. It makes it look more like, okay, this is a custom coat. It's not a regular, you know, regular like button. So I actually really do love it. The colors match really well. But you guys, we gotta talk about these buttonholes. So because my fabric was so thick, it's an upholstery fabric, my machine, which at the time when I started, I was still working on my quantum stylus, which I've had for several years. So I think it was a combination of like, okay, it's probably time to move on. Like I had already had it go to the shop. It started acting like it would not do my buttons, and it started to almost like mess up my fabric. So I was able to do buttonholes, a couple of them regularly, but I ended up starting to like just slash the fabric and hand sewed around the hole, because it was just, to me, it wasn't worth it for me to keep trying and then messing up the buttonholes. I just ended up taking like an X-Acto knife, slicing the size of the buttons, like I marked them out, and then I like hand sewed them around the edges so that it wouldn't fray. However, the fabric, because it's such a thick fabric, like upholstery fabric, it wasn't fraying that much anyway. So I ended up having to do that. I was able to do the buttonholes on the sleeve, but it was something about like the fact that it was the 2 layers of the fabric and interfacing in that upholstery fabric that it was not going over the facing in the front. It just, was not cooperating. So in the midst of all of that, I actually ended up getting a brother machine, and it started working a little bit better, but I still just wasn't comfortable. And I'm like, after doing all these seams and all of, you know, this coat and it being pretty much done, I'm not about to mess it up because these buttonholes aren't right. So I just started to do that. So that kind of was like the hold up with the coat. The coat itself was done. It was just the buttonholes was just like a whole ordeal. I don't think that you should be discouraged about that, because if you pick a fabric that's just not like this super thick upholstery fabric like I did, you won't have an issue. You'll be able to do your buttonholes just fine. So I know for sure if I make this coat again, it's not going to be with this super thick like upholstery type fabric. Even if you do like a wool, wools aren't as rough. This was really like a rigid, rough like fabric. However, like I said, it makes for a really good heavy coat. So I'm going to be warm next fall and winter in the coat. So like I said, I absolutely love it, and I'm glad I actually ended up doing it after all this time. And so let me actually... I dropped my little notes. I have some notes here. So, like I said, oh, I didn't tell you guys. I cut a size 18. I actually should have cut a 20. I just wasn't, I was thinking more so at the top, I would be okay. But I didn't equate for like, it needs to button all the way down and go over my hips. So I can only button it to like high waist, and I have to just leave it open. However, she styled on the pattern envelope the same way, so I have it on like that. So it's gonna have to be a coat that I'm gonna wear open. I'll just have to have like a scarf, or I'll just have it buttoned here, because it won't go. I can button it, however it'll start puckering, the pockets will start puckering. So I didn't like that, so I was like, you know what, I know next time I'm gonna have to cut a 20. I could probably even cut a 22 if I want to wear like heavier things under it, because today I just had it on with this like dress, which is a very fitted, like close fitted, you know, dress, and it was like tight. Not like tight restricting, but like I couldn't put like a thick sweater under it and button it up at all. So I would say next time I will make it in a size 20 or 22. I did already cut my pattern, so I'll probably have to just order another one, but I do think I will make it again. I don't think like in the next year. I will revisit it, because what I love so much about it, you guys, is that it's long. Like I'm 5'10", and this coat it's almost on the floor. Like I had on a little heel in the video, and it's almost on the floor. So you girls who are shorter, you're gonna have to cut it, because I was like, oh my gosh, I could not believe it. So I love that though. I did end up adding 3 extra inches to my sleeve. That's just a standard thing that I have to do because my arms are long. Other than that, I didn't make any other alterations. The length that it has is the length that it is out of the pattern envelope. And I will say that, I said it earlier, if you want to show all your work with the seaming and everything, use a less busy fabric, use a solid fabric. It's a good one though. I would say it's average, average to like a little bit more advanced than average, especially like with the lining pieces. However, like I said, I figured it out on my own. And you guys, sometimes that's just how I get down with sewing patterns. Like I'll look at the instructions, but like for the most part, it's all about the pieces, and I'll just put them together and I'll get it together. If you look at the inside of my coat, you'll be like, oh, it looks fine. I did not do it the way that they said as far as the arm goes, but it looks perfectly fine. I will say that my lining is a little bit shorter in the inside, so I connected it all around in the front, but at the bottom I did not, because when I was hemming it, it was kind of starting to pull. So, I mean, who's going to be in the inside of my coat? I hope you're not in the inside of my coat. So there is a little bit of like maybe 2 inches separation between the hem of the coat with the fabric and the lining, but only I'm really seeing that. And so I would rather have that than it be pulling. When I was trying to like hem it the normal way where it's like all enclosed, it was starting to like kind of pucker at the bottom of the coat, and that's just not, I didn't want that look at all. So the bottom of the coat is hemmed separate than the lining on my coat. So, but yeah, I had thought about cutting it and making it like more closer to the same size, but like I said, you guys, like the coat for me was all about the length. I love the length of the coat. So yeah, if you guys have any questions about anything else on the construction of the coat, put that in the comment section. I feel like that is pretty much it. Let me just go over. Yeah, I said it was 60 steps. It's a 2-part sleeve. Oh, I did skip the shoulder pads. It's recommended that you use, well, it's shoulder pads are included for you to add, but I felt like it was, bold enough. I didn't need it, so I didn't add it. I was open to it because it does look nice if it's nice and structured. I think maybe if you didn't have such a thick fabric like I did, maybe it would be best to do that. But for me, I was like, I don't need a shoulder pad. I don't have it buttoned at the top neck because, again, I feel like I need a bigger size. So when I wear the coat, like I said, I'm going to wear it open and probably just the top 3 buttons and just have it open at the bottom. So yeah, I also do think that it's a possibility that if I make it again, I'll make it without that little collar. But yeah, it's such a nice coat. I'm so glad that I did it. And even though it's spring, I was like, you know what? Go ahead and knock it out. Somebody will find it next year or 2 years from now if they're interested in doing it. And if they have any questions, they can ask me and I'll be sure to answer them. So yeah, I hope you like this review of Vogue 1926. And I hope to see you guys here on the channel soon. If you are not subscribed and you love sewing content, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you here. Also, click the notification bell so you'll be alerted when I upload a new video. So until next time, bye.